Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. If you're new here, I'm Dakota, and this is my co-host Tim. And Tim, did you know this is our fifth anniversary starting this year?
Wow, 5 years.
Since
Well,
May, yeah.
that's good. What did
Started
you get me?
this started this my presents. Um,
Okay.
we I don't know, what'd you give me though?
All right. I mean,
Mm,
listen, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning here. My presence is at
mm,
a premium
okay, fair enough.
going on my way for you.
Debatable. But yeah, so obviously we started this back in COVID. Um, when everyone was bored out of their mind and not working, and so
Yeah, it's true.
kind of
The
crazy.
the glory days.
Couldn't have foreseen we'd still be kicking the rocks on this thing, and but we do it for fun. It's not a moneymaker by any means, but it's a good way to like keep in touch with everyone and talk sports
Hey,
because who doesn't like
I
talking
mean, it gives
sports?
me like I tell you, some people, one, it's hard to find an NFL fan, and then you do find an NFL fan. It's like, yeah,
Oh yeah, in England.
Patrick Mahomes, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, he's great, he's awesome. It's like, yeah, him and Tom Brady are the best ever. It's like, I mean, sure, but can you tell me anything? And then I like to put little feelers out. Always start with the Eagles, like, Eagles are great. Jalen Hurts is good. Everyone knows Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley.
hmm
Jalen Carter's the next guy. Oh, you
hmm
do know Jalen Carter. Okay, all right,
hmm
fair enough.
hmm
I think that if we get more opportunity from Reed Blankenship, this could be a big step up. Oh, you think Reed
Blankenship.
Blankenship? They should have kept Gardner Johnson instead of Blankenship. Okay, all
Mm,
right, we're talking it
hmm
out.
hmm
Now we can shoot and chop it up a little bit.
hmm
What do you think about the Baltimore Ravens number two tight end, Isaiah Likely?
Oh,
If
oh,
they even know him, they
mm.
know him. I'll give him that. And keeping you on your toes, the reason I name drop him is because if I told Isaiah Likely's name to anyone in England, I'd be surprised if anyone knew him. If I said Mark Andrews' name in England, be 50-50 on that one.
Maybe for the playoff game, they might know him.
That's true. But Isaiah Likely, and I want to get your thoughts here because I only have
Mm,
one participation trophy to give out, and
mm.
it's more of a like a I'd love to see you on a different team trophy.
Uh-huh.
Isaiah Likely not cracking the top 10, but he's on my 11th spot. And I think if he was on any other team, he's an easy top 10. It's just he plays behind Mark Andrews. But given those chances, he actually looks pretty good. And this past year, he was in more of those two tight end sets.
Yep.
I liked what I saw. I mean, the guy, the first week of the year, he had the whole, toe out of bounds thing, but Mark Andrews was hurt. At
I mean, that was the
111 yards.
first game of the season, I think.
Yeah, he came out balling.
Eh.
But Isaiah Likely is just on that borderline of top 10 wide receiver or top 10 tight end,
hmm
mostly because of the fact that he plays behind another top 10 tight end. But he's the guy I'd like to see traded or like to see released for the greater good of NFL and for him and for everyone that isn't the Baltimore Ravens. I think we'd all like to see Isaiah Likely on another team. So yeah, just to roll right into that montage right off the spot. That's my number 11.
Okay. It was almost, you think like 5 years in, you'd almost have a perfect transition.
That was pretty good.
It was solid.
I went
We
from Reed Blankenship to Isaiah
You did.
Likely.
I
I don't
did
think it
like
gets better than
that.
that.
We just didn't get to the part where we're mentioning what the point of this episode is,
Yeah,
which is
I may have jumped the gun. I
you
get
may have
that.
jumped in on, okay.
I
But
was too giddy.
yes, the return of our what started the podcast, our top 10 players at positions list. I don't know what we actually call it. Our top 10.
Yeah.
And so we always typically start with tight ends are usually one of the first few we've done. Um, and I just real quick remember like the first year we did this, we were like, I feel like we were scraping to fill like the 10, 9, and 8 tight ends because like
Yeah.
it was so top heavy. But when I did my list, for this episode, I think the tight end position's been growing a lot. There were,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say there's 8 players that 1000% should be on this list, but you can move them around a lot, and I think the honorable mentions. I only have one, right? I'll put two, but they're much more viable than they've been in the past. But I like the
That's true.
likely pick. I
He's
considered him at
low potential.
10, but I already have Mark Andrews in here at some point.
That was the problem.
Um,
See, greater good. And you know what
and
the thing is? Tight end is a tough one because there really is only one tight end. It's one of
yeah,
those one positions. It's a quarterback, it's a tight end, it's a running back. And I think that was what changed the whole outlook of the position. Gronk, Travis Kelce, two guys that could be number one options on really good teams and be your
mhm.
tight end. That's when the renaissance happened. Before, if your tight end was your number one option, you sucked.
Yeah. I mean, we had it was what it was like. It was. I mean, it was Kelsey, Kittle, Ertz, Gronk for a couple years as like there was no they were
Jimmy
untouchable.
Graham.
Jimmy
Jimmy Graham
Graham
was in
for
that
like
renaissance.
2
The
years.
Graham Gronk, nah, but Graham had some good. Graham Gronk and the Travis Kelce regime, I think were the big ones.
Yeah. But yeah, now I think it's grown a lot. But we do have what's tricky, and this is he's not he's not one of my honorable mentions, but I think a player like Mike Gesicki is someone who's hard to evaluate because he's literally just a big slot receiver. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't block. He rarely lines up, I think, with his hand in the ground. Really good pass catcher, but again, not much of a blocking. So it's like how much do you evaluate like what they contribute to the team as a blocker, what they contribute as a pass catcher, what they contribute, run blocking versus pass blocking if they're not going out for a catch. So I think there's a lot to factor in, but yeah, likely was one of my honorable mentions. My other honorable mention from Buffalo Bills, I had Dalton Kincaid as my
Mm.
he would have been like number 11. So,
Kincaid, I actually funny you mentioned him because so as I ranted on when we started, which
hmm
seems like ages ago, because I did
yes,
jump out ahead of it, but
classic.
I actually have Kincaid at number 10.
Look at that. Beautiful.
Kincaid and
Poetry in
Likely
motion.
are in, yeah, Kincaid and Likely are almost in similar situations.
Yeah.
They're both one of two. Dawson
Mm.
Knox, I think, is pretty good. Not on the list, but I think Dawson Knox is pretty
Yeah.
good.
Knox kind of got pushed out of the way though for Kincaid, I'd say.
I wouldn't say he took the title yet. I'd say they're even. Like they're neck and neck right now. Andrews is
Yeah.
too far ahead of Likely for Likely to really
Oh,
get
for
into
sure.
serious consideration. But I think it's still neck and neck. Like you literally have a 1A and 1B with those two. Kincaid hasn't taken it and run with it. But even though his numbers were down this year compared to his rookie year, if you look at how many passing attempts they had, this was one of the lowest passing attempts in Josh Allen's career. There's 100 less passing attempts than it was the year before.
Hmm.
You're talking about the rookie year was
They
lower,
ran a
and
lot, yeah.
then the second year he was in the league, and but that was a game less. They played 16 games instead of 17. Otherwise, you're pretty much neck and neck with that one. So you're talking about pretty much the least amount of passing attempts from Josh Allen in his career, and that's where I think you saw the step back in Kincaid's routes and targets, etc.
hmm
But I think he'd still be really good. The Bills need some players to step up. We talked about the tight end position growing. It became from players that were number one options in the receiving game on good teams. Kincaid can be that guy. But he's at 10 right now because he hasn't kicked in the door yet. His opportunity, I think, will grow this year, and I like him as a breakout. So I got him at 10. He's on the list, but I'd like to see him a little bit higher next year.
Okay. My number 10 is a guy that I think he finally has. You know what? Actually, let me pull up because I want to see how many teams he's played for. Because I feel like he's been thrown around the league a little bit here.
This is never a good start to any top 10 selection. Like, oh, how many teams has this guy played for? He's been thrown around the league. He sounds like a top 10 player when you're just getting passed around the league like a backup safety.
Well, listen. All
This
right.
checks off one of the main criteria for you. He's been in the league for a very long time. If he's been passed around, that you have to
He's been
research how many teams he's
he was
on.
a rookie in 2017. I didn't realize he was that old. Um, I wouldn't say passed around the league, but he was with the Titans for 4 years. Then he
Oh,
went over
okay, I
to
get where you're going.
the Patriots, and then he was with the Falcons for a year, which is where I thought he was going to stay. And then they didn't bring him back, and he played for the Dolphins last year, and I believe he's still with the Dolphins for a couple more years. I think it was a 2 or 3 year deal. I don't remember
For
offhand.
now,
Huh?
for now,
For now,
there's a
he
lot of interest in moving him apparently.
there is, and I think he's having contract disputes, but that's we're not really getting into that right now. So Jonnu Smith, I have here at number 10. I think, I mean, that's a pretty loaded offense that the Dolphins have with Tyreek. You have Waddle. Uh, like I said, well, I think Gesicki's not. He's not on the Dolphins anymore. I forget where he went.
No, he's on the Bengals.
The Bengals, yeah, yeah. A nice revolving door of running backs. So there's a lot of mouths to feed in Miami, and he finished the season with 88 catches, 884 yards, and 8 touchdowns.
No,
So
it's a very good year.
that was a franchise record for he set
Pretty much
the
everything.
yeah, for a tight end. He broke all the Dolphins records, made the Pro Bowl. But yeah, there are some contract issues going on. He's apparently trying to get traded, but as long as he's still on the Dolphins for now, I think he's finally getting some recognition. I thought he was really going to take off when he went to the Pats, and that was a crowded tight end field because they had Hunter Henry and all that. But
Hmm.
no, I think he's been a good talent, and now he's finally able to kind of making his first Pro Bowl. So thought he'd give him his flowers at number 10 here.
You know what? Listen, no complaints there because I have him at number 9.
Look at that, beautiful.
So John Smith's my number 9. He definitely had a breakout year. He's never been bad. Like he's always been
No,
a good player. He actually, you know what? He had more receptions than Tyreek Hill, who was on his own team,
hmm.
and George Kittle, who I have to
Huh?
think is either one or two on our list in tight ends.
Maybe.
You're an idiot. Um, but yeah, like he really came out and balled. I wouldn't say it was out of nowhere because he was always a solid player. He wasn't this elite guy that he was last year.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. The rumors that the Dolphins, for whatever reason, are having a fire sale. They want to get rid of him and Jalen Ramsey. But it seems like John Smith wants to stay, and he might be willing to move some money around to stay, but it doesn't sound like he's gonna stay. So that hurt my ranking a little bit because I don't know how confident I feel for him next year if he's not on the Dolphins. But I don't want to be a gray cloud in the sky. Guy had a really good
Yeah.
year. You ran on the stats. The Dolphins were an up and down team, but he was pretty solid all year.
I will say a player that I I could probably put it like 12 or 13. I don't know if you fell into your list, but he switched teams this offseason. Evan Ingram. And I've hated him for not hated, but he was a giant, so I never really liked him, and I thought he was
Never liked
overrated and
him.
he was a bust.
Yeah,
But
I
with the
agree. I put him on
Jags,
my list last year, though.
with the Jags, he had a good like resurrection. He was a security blanket for Trevor Lawrence, so I was pretty shocked that they kind of let him go. But um, we'll see what he does in Denver. I don't, not that it's a bad situation, but I don't really know how he's kind of older now. Tail end of his career a bit. So, but just a nod to him that he was considered as well. But all right. So that was your 9. It was just Janu. My list has disappeared. We're off to a fantastic start. All right.
5 years in, you think you'd be able to like keep a tab up?
Now this guy I wish I could put higher, but I think, like I said, the top 8 I think is pretty set in stone, and it's a stacked list. I think you could interchange some of these depending on the seasons they have. Because there are some tight ends on this list that are kind of injury prone that still put up crazy numbers. But one player that did have a bit of injuries this year that I've always kind of been a big fan of, he just has never had consistency at quarterback or really, you know, besides he's had a Pro Bowl running back. He finally had a nice side piece receiver this year. I mean, he's had some decent receivers, but a guy who actually was a little more consistent this year. But David Njoku from the Browns, I got here number 9. I think in
You
previous
love
years,
him.
I do, I do. I told you,
You
I'm a
love
big.
him. He's so overrated.
Oh, stop it,
This is a terrible spot for him.
stop
An
it.
awful spot for him.
You didn't have him
You
on your
always
list,
have him
did you?
drafted. Did he go to Virginia Tech?
He did not.
Ah,
Where did
you
he go?
always overrate him. He's so overrated. He's not bad, but he's not like he doesn't sniff like elite tight end.
Mm, I wouldn't say elite, but I think he's a
I
really
mean,
like.
number 9 isn't too far off.
I mean, I don't know. Last year it was his best year. He had 800, not last year, but 2023, 882 yards, 6 touchdowns, and that was in 16 games. This year he only played in 11 games, 500 yards, still had 5 touchdowns. Um,
His year is significantly worse than the one before this. What are you trying to sell me on?
I'm saying he played in
Two
less
years ago, he was
games.
really good.
Well, he
Oh,
played in less
that
games.
playing less games is always a negative.
I don't know. He's never who he said like Joe Flacco in the retirement
Listen,
home,
there are some
and
players that I've had to hear listen to for 5 years now tell me about how great they are when you are the only person that will, die on the hill for them. David Njoku is one of them, so I will let you have your moment. He's so overrated, but I know you love him, so I'll let you have your moment.
I don't know. He, excuse me, he actually was close to 1,000 yards in 23. So
That's two
I don't
years
know who's
ago,
going to
but
play quarterback for the Browns, but if they get some consistency, I think maybe he could get close to 1,000. I mean, who knows? But he's a good playmaker. He's a really good playmaker. He'll go up and get the ball. He's quick. Not the best blocker, but he's willing to get in and get dirty. But
Nate doesn't block.
let's see, where did he go to college? Oh, Miami.
Hmm,
Go
that's it.
Hurricanes.
I knew it was something. Yeah. Yeah, he's not a top 10 tight end. I'll let you have your
Oh,
moment like I do
okay.
every year, but he's not a top 10 tight end.
Curious to see who you
Moving
have
on.
in that place then.
Number 8, I'm actually going
Mm,
with the young guy here.
mm,
Guy, I always say sometimes it's like the Jalen Hurts argument. You hold it, you hold back a guy's rating because he plays on such a good team.
hmm
But if his team stunk, you would criticize him just as much. So this guy, I think, gets a little bit of that, but I can't discredit him because the team kind of really started balling when he came on. So young guy, I'm going with
mm,
Sam Laporta here.
mm.
Consistent though, never misses games. His stats went down this year than his rookie year where he came out balling. But, Jahmyr Gibbs really broke through. They ran the ball more. Jameson Williams became more of a factor. You still had St. Brown. So I think there was too many mouths to feed for him to keep up his, 889 yards, 120 targets, and 10 touchdowns he had his rookie year. But seven tutties, 726, 60 receptions, not bad at all. Little regression, but I don't think that was really on him. I think there was too many mouths to feed. Guy's really good player, touchdown machine. Two years in the league, 17 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, he's in a great offense. He is a part of that great offense. I'm not never the guy like, oh, he's just a product of that great offense. He's definitely a part of that great offense.
hmm
So yeah, I went Laporta here.
So this is our first top 10 ranking episode of the year. This is also our first match of the year because I
Wow,
also have Sam Laporta at number 8.
there we go.
I
Always
think
makes me feel worse when we match, but go on.
I think in previous years, well, what's this? This was his what, second or third year in the league?
Second,
Yeah, I think last year I had him a little higher, maybe. I don't remember. I'm trying to find out. But yeah, I think he had a couple. I think he missed a couple games of injury. Um, but he also like I think I had him for fantasy. And he was not as good this year. I think he had a couple like chunk games. Um, but like you said, that's a crowded. I mean, you got two really good running backs. You have
hmm
a top 10 wide receiver. You have a young, speedy receiver. And now you have him at tight end. So yeah, there are plenty of mouths to feed in Detroit. But I think he's pretty interchangeable. I can see him being like borderline top 5 if he has a good season. But like you said, I
Oh, he's
think
right there. I mean, I don't know if
yeah.
his numbers are going to match like what he did in year one with how good this offense is. Like Gibbs is getting better. St. Brown is still a beast.
Oh yeah.
Jameson Williams is still emerging. Um, yeah, I mean, he's in a good spot, but his numbers will always be, I think, dampened because of how good everyone else is around him.
Yeah. Um but I think 8 is I think 6 for mine at least, my 6, 7, and 8, you could interchange them. I think they're all in the same class. So um But so that's my 8. So then who do you have at 7? I have a feeling we have the same 7.
So seven is, you know what? He's on the decline. He's just staying healthy is a big problem for him. And I
Mm.
think this might be his last year, A, on the
Mm.
Eagles. And
Well,
I'm not gonna
yep.
lie, this might be his last year in the top 10 unless he starts showing some
Yep.
health. But he also, I mean, listen, we can't like I said, you hate, but winning the Super Bowl always improves your ranking. It's the Jason Hayward effect, and obviously that helped him. But he's still not very healthy. He misses too many games. But when he plays, you see it. You still see it when he plays. I mean, take the Saints game. Now, mind you, the Saints were the best team in the NFL at this point. Remember way back when the Saints were 2-0 and they shit on the first two teams by like 45 points?
Yeah.
And Dallas Goedert went out and caught 10 balls for 170 yards in a game we won 15-12.
Hmm.
He has those moments. He had a couple other good games. He had a good game against Washington. He had a solid game against the Giants. But it's missing the games. He's just not healthy. He crushed the Washington in the playoffs, went for 85 there.
Oh yeah.
He did pretty well in the playoffs. All four games he showed
He
out.
he was
He made
our best receiver, I would argue, in the playoffs.
yeah.
He had like 200
He's
some
really good.
receiving yards and like I think a touchdown or two.
On a really stacked team, I think he's more impactful than Sam Laporta is on a really stacked team. And I think the Eagles team is much better than Laporta, the Lions,
I
but I feel
think
like Goddard makes more of an impact when he gets the chances and when he plays.
yeah, I think also Goddard. So yes, he is also my number seven. So we got back to back samesies here.
Look at that.
Um, I think he's one of those players that like if he was only a receiving threat and you factor in his injuries, he's probably 10 or honorable mention territory. But I think as you factor in what he's able to do in the run game as well with blocking, he's such a
Yeah.
physical player. I think that boosts him as he's a complete tight end.
Yeah.
So, but it's also crazy. Like we had Ertz for so long, and so it doesn't feel like Goddard's been on this team forever, but he's been since 2018. Like since the year we won
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, he's been on this team the first time. So he's kind of getting up there. But like you
Kind of
said, this
crazy if you look at it that way. The span between the two Super Bowls is Dallas Goddard's career.
yeah.
Like that's like the last time
So
we won a
yeah.
Super Bowl was Dallas Goddard's rookie year in a weird way. I don't know how
He'll be
that
going into
that's a weird measuring
his
stick.
eighth season with this year.
Yeah,
So
I mean, this is why the talks were there that they were going to trade him or they're going to move on from him because I mean, at the end of the day, you can understand like he's getting paid pretty well, and not that he's not good, but the guy just he misses time constantly. He's always down to miss like 4 games a year at least. This
you know,
year he missed seven, I think it was 6 or 7.
yeah, he only played in 10 games this year.
Yeah, like
And
it's
you
every
know how I feel
year.
about Grant Calcaterra, so I need Goddard to be on this team.
You're the biggest Calcaterra hater for
I
no
am.
reason. I like Cal. He can't block
He
at
can't
all,
block.
but
For
he's a good
as big as
player.
he is, he can't block for shit. It just like throw yourself at somebody.
I know, but sometimes you look at it and you're like, all right, can I get Calcaterra and some random tight end that can block? And if they're healthy, that might be better than Goddard, who misses 7 games.
I don't know. But yeah, I
I
had
don't
a
know.
tough time placing Goddard. I last year, so I just found my list from last year. I had I had Kyle Pitts at number 10 last year. What a joke.
I don't you like you with Kyle Pitts. Everyone with Kyle Pitts, I don't get it. Kyle Pitts is
I
well,
mean, I was
now he's not overrated anymore, but he
yeah,
was never a top 10 tight end. He never even sniffed it.
I'm pretty sure you had him before he even played a snap in the NFL in your top 10.
You know for 100% fact I did not. Don't give me
No.
that. Did Mr. Oh, I have Marvin Harrison in the top 5
I
last year.
had I had Marvin
Uh-huh.
Harrison at
Oh,
10.
yep, that was also a terrible pick. I didn't.
He was fine. Um, yeah, so I had Kyle Pitts at 10. I had Cole Kmet at number 9. He did not make the list. Donkey
It's a
Kid I
tough
had
one
at
too.
8. David Njoku I had at 7. So he, bumped him back a little. Laporta I had at 6, so bumped him back a little. And then I had Goddard at 5 last year. So, but I Goddard also played 14 games last year, which is crazy. That's a career high. That's sad.
Yeah, that
But
that is that is sad.
yeah, his best year was actually 2021. He had 830 receiving yards, and he's not a big touchdown guy for whatever reason.
No, because you compare him to Laporta. Laporta just constantly scores touchdown.
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert, not so much.
Yeah, so I think him and you could, if you said like Laporta or Goddard, I'm not gonna fight you over that. So
Kyle Pitts last year, honorable mention, and that was
sure.
way too high.
Yeah.
I had him at 11, way too high, or 12,
Yeah, he's trash.
way too high,
He's
way
trash.
too high.
I would take
Kyle
him if
Pitts,
the Falcons want to trade him for like peanuts. We could take
no,
him,
I
but
no, no, I want to
not
because he
even
can't
peanuts.
block. No, I have no
Planners?
point.
No,
What is he going to do? I don't see the need.
he's just a receiving
I'm
guy.
fine with because you know what he can't block. I heard the guy you know who he reminds me of? Kyle Pitts reminds me of Trey Lance. Supreme athlete, incredible athlete
Eh.
actually. Incredible athlete that just doesn't understand how to play his position. Trey Lance could throw the ball a million
Quarterback?
yards,
You don't
very
want to play
athletic.
quarterback?
He just can't
That's
read a
bad.
defense to save his life. Kyle Pitts,
Uh,
well, one, he can't block at all, but that's fine because no one thought he could block. But two, I just don't think he can run routes or understands football. I don't know. I don't buy that his quarterbacks have held him back. I just saw Brock Bowers have one of the greatest tight end seasons in the history of his life, and you, Gardner Minshew, and Aiden McConnell were throwing balls to him.
I wish. Yeah. Brock Bowers, yeah, he did pretty good on my list. But
He did.
all right. Yeah. So Goddard, we love you. Loved the stiff arm against the Packers. The fact that he
Oh, it's
slowed down
awesome.
to give him another stiff arm.
That's
That
a
never
if he's
that,
healthy, he's top five. He misses
yeah, I
games.
know. That's what sucks. I think because last year he played 14 games, so I think I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I mean, he's so reliable though. Like he had that one, the Saints game we lost, but I mean him and Saquon were the only reason we were even in that game.
Yeah,
Because he had that crazy 60-yard catch, but yeah, he's I mean he's reliable, reliable, good
yeah.
blocker. Well, reliable when he's playing, but that's all you can really hope to get out of a tight end. But all right, so that was our. So once again, you're gonna lead off here. So that is we're number 6 now.
I'm going with a player who actually reminds me of Dallas Goedert quite a lot. Had a was very injured last year.
Mm,
I think he was coming back. I think he missed most of the
mm,
first half season.
okay.
But he's a two-way guy. Blocks really well. He is one of those we're talking about tight ends. He is a tight end that could be a number one passing offense on a winning team.
Hmm.
Now it helps that the best wide receiver in football plays on his team.
Hmm.
But I still think TJ Hawkinson is a top five talent. He's at six here because it's the injuries. He missed what was it, 7 or 8 games last year? Because I think he was
Yeah.
coming off he tore his ACL or did something the year before. Um, but yeah, I mean, otherwise the guy's pretty consistent. The 2 years before that, he was nearly 1,000 yards. Doesn't score a ton of touchdowns, kind of like Goddard in that aspect, but he gets quite a few receptions and targets. 95 the year before that. He had 86, 61. Yeah, he's a solid player all in all, even from when he went to the Lions, the Vikings. But I like TJ Hawkinson a lot. Elite on both sides. So he's my number six guy.
I'm gonna I'm gonna do what you do and jump the gun a little. So I have Hawkinson at number 5.
Oh,
Same reasons that you. I mean, I think that, like you said, he was injury riddled. Like I said, a lot of our list, tons of tight ends that have been fighting the injury bug. But I mean, he when he came back, he was like almost
he was ready to
unstoppable.
roll. Yeah.
He was killing it. So I think if he gets a full, close to healthy season this year, I mean, good luck. Because I mean, even Addison's like a good two receiver.
I like Jordan Addison a
Now
lot.
people have
Liked
been
him when he
saying
was coming
he's
out.
better than Devontae Smith. I said, "Oh, slow your fucking
Get
roll."
out of here.
But
Get out of here. He doesn't even sniff him.
him, Jetta, and Hawkinson, and it's a nice. We'll see how the quarterback does. That is a question mark. They're rolling with the rookie, we'll call him, because he was a rookie last year, didn't play because of the injury. But we'll see. We'll see what McCarthy's got in the tank. But I like Hawkinson a lot. And my number 6, though. So I don't know where you have him. Um, Great progression. It's not like I don't like him to put him at 6. He
Oh
could go
boy.
higher, but I think he plays on a team that's kind of volatile, and I don't really know what they're gonna do. And Kyler Murray is he's a good quarterback, but he hasn't gotten to that great level yet. But I have Trey McBride here, number 6. I
Hmm.
think. Yeah, see, I knew you were gonna. Yeah, that
It's,
was all I needed
it's
to
a
know.
tough one. That's a tough one.
Listen, he went from 265 receiving yards his rookie year, greatly improved to 825, and then he cracked the
Hmm.
1,000-yard barrier at 1,146 yards. I look at 2 touchdowns this year. That's not very exciting. And the volume of catches, 111 catches, is he going to be getting that with more Marvin Harrison Jr. involvement this year, I would assume? And, there he can't be getting the ball 111 times is a lot of catches for a
I
tight
mean, I
end.
would argue the other side. He was, like we were saying, he was the number one option on that offense. Marvin Harrison's going to get better, but he was the number one offense option. I mean, granted, the Cardinals weren't great. They weren't
Yeah.
bad, though. But he, in his second year in the NFL, is going for over 100 receptions as a tight end. I think that's pretty impressive. I
Yeah.
think that was
I
a big
mean,
jump.
he's
He
not
put his
much of
name in the
a
elite tight end discussion this year.
he was great. I know he cost me a parlay, which I wasn't too fond of, but that did not impact
Oh,
my decision.
yeah,
Bro, it was
right.
so annoying because I had a touchdown. It was like 4 players to score a touchdown, and I would have made like 2 grand. And he was the last one I needed, and he dropped one in the end zone, and then like at the end of the game he caught one but was out of bounds. And I was like, I can't win. Like you had
Yeah.
2 touchdowns in your hands and you couldn't finish. But no, he's great. I like depending on how he does this year, he could easily jump into like top 4, top 3 discussion. But I'm just pumping the brakes a little just because like when you see a jump like that, I want to see like how he kind of sustains it because 81 to 111 is great, but where does he drop back down to 80 catches, which is still great for a tight end. I mean, Goddard is getting, around 60, 70 catches. So, um, but yeah, we'll see. See how he does, but I think he's definitely in that like you could put him at 6 if you're like me, or you could probably put him. I have a feeling you have him like 4 or 3, but not gonna argue with that. I think he's a good young player. So, but those are my 6, him, and then 5. I have Hawkinson. So, I think we're now at your number 5.
So my number five, actually, this was a coin toss.
Mm,
Honestly, I could go one of two ways.
okay.
This was the new school versus the old school.
Mm,
And I was flipping it.
mm,
Part of me just wants to go the other way because you took the other side.
hmm.
But then I was like, you know what?
Dakota made some great points.
Last minute, I was like, you know what? He's already done this. He's not fallen off the cliff, but he's already put up Trey McBride numbers. He's still there. I know he had a terrible outing on the way out of the playoffs. But I'm going to give you my 4-5 right here.
Okay.
For the time being, I have Trey McBride at number 5.
And you rolled your eyes at me. One
I
for
know,
one
because
position.
I know, but it seems like he's a top 5 tight end. Because
I
I see it as the top 5 is like 4 miles ahead of the rest of them. Like the cutoff from top 5 to 6, I think is actually pretty big because I think TJ Hawkinson and Dallas Goddard are pretty far behind Trey McBride. And I'm going to put him in the package deal. Trey McBride's great,
mm,
really good. Number one option is offense.
hmm.
My number 4 that I tell you they're like splitting hairs is Mark Andrews.
Okay.
Mark Andrews was that guy for Lamar
I
Jackson. He
also have
had
Mark
100 plus
Andrews at
targets.
number 4, so I agree with you.
It was a tough one. Those were the toughest ones there, but I do think the top 5 is a mile from those 4 to TJ Hawkinson and Goddard, who I like Hawkinson a lot, but maybe it's the last season injury concerns that get me, or that Goddard's hurt a lot.
I
But
mean,
Andrews and McBride have that like reliability factor to them. They both go over 100 yards receiving. I feel like they're both can be focal points of their offense. I like Hawkinson. I like Goddard. I think they're both really good, but I don't think either of them can be their focal point. I think Hawkinson's a great complement with Jetta, but
yeah.
Mark Andrews was the number one option for MVP season Lamar Jackson. Trey McBride has already put up 100 and 11 receptions in his second year in the NFL.
Yeah. I think if Trey McBride had like Mark Andrews' number of touchdowns with the Trey McBride yardage, I think I would
Mark
probably put
Andrews
him
does
a
find the
spot or
end zone.
two.
He loves the end zone. 11
Oh
touchdowns
yeah.
this year. Loves the
Crazy.
end zone.
Crazy. Touchdown machine.
Yeah, he's a big fan of the end
But
zone.
yeah, I was looking back because I was like, so a young gun, which is rare for Dakota. He doesn't like the young guns. But he
That's
kind
true.
of he kind of pushed Mark Andrews out because I had Andrews 2022 I had Mark Andrews at number 2. 23 and last year, 24, I had Andrews at number 3. And now this year I have Mark Andrews at number 4. So I mean he's still great. I think likely kind of take some of his snaps now. which hurts his stock a bit. But and I think their third. I've heard of the third tight end is actually pretty good as well. So they kind of got a loaded house there, and then obviously I think D-Hop just signed with the Ravens too this offseason.
Yeah,
So
because that's where the wide receivers go to die.
oh, also true, yeah. But yeah, I think Mark Andrews has been in the league for a while now. If you holding over his playoff drop or I forget what happened. He stepped. I forget what
The
he stepped.
2 point conversion.
Oh yeah, yeah. What he drop it or didn't cross the line?
It
What
just
happened?
it just dropped. Hit
It
him in the
dropped.
hands.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it happens. Can't make every play.
I mean, the
It's
play that's a tough one.
it's
That's a
tough.
tough
It's
one.
tough. But you gotta move on. They weren't gonna do anything anyways after that. So
I feel like there's a lot of people in Baltimore that would disagree with you on that one.
probably, probably. But
But I mean, shortcomings or not, the guy who's been a number one option on that offense. This offense brought in Derrick Henry. They changed their identity. But my God, who's the last like Ravens wide receiver, like Pro Bowl level Ravens wide receiver you could think of? Anquan Bolden, maybe. It's probably the last one I can think of.
who were number who were number 15 and he would return punts?
Jacoby Jones.
Yeah.
Like what's that? That's even more obscure than my like. That's I mean, like
Ravens have never had like
credit
a one
credit
number one
Mark
guy.
Andrews because he was the only receiving option for Lamar Jackson's MVP seasons. Now the offense changed. Derrick Henry came in. He
Oh
was
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Things, but Andrews still plays well. Likely's gotten really good. Again, I don't think Likely's emergence is a discredit to Mark Andrews. It's just more of like I'd rather just see Isaiah Likely on a different team because Mark Andrews is still really good, and Isaiah like he's never going to take over Mark Andrews' spot. But
Never say never.
yeah, but
They could
McBride's
prioritize likely because he's younger and then maybe
Trey
ship out
McBride's
Andrews.
great. He's so good. He's going to be even better. He had 800 yards receiving the year before. Doesn't get in the end zone though.
Yeah.
He's afraid of the end zone. Like
Yeah, that was my point. I think he's
he's got
great,
like
but
6 touchdowns in 3 years. He really does not just
yeah.
doesn't enjoy the end zone for some reason.
Yep. 49 games, 6 touchdowns,
If
but
he just got
10.1
over his
yards per
fear of
catch. So
if he got over his fear of the end zone, he'd be really good. But he's just terrified of it.
10.1 yards per catch for a tight end, that's a first down every time. So that's good.
It's true. He just
But
red zone, no more first downs. Just
yeah.
nope.
Yeah.
So entering the top three here, two names that we've had in the top three, I think probably close to every year we've done this. But it's the old
Oh, for
saying,
sure.
like, it's like, oh, XYZ has now entered the chat.
Hmm.
We know our top three. Brock Bowers has now entered the chat,
He has.
but it's not now. So I'm going to the older of the
Hmm.
statesmen. He's
Hmm.
let's be honest, he's definitely on a decline. You saw it this year.
Hmm.
He's not the same player, but that doesn't mean he isn't awesome. That he's just not the best tight end in the NFL anymore. But the guy is still absolutely money when he needs to be. Like when it comes down to the playoffs, Travis Kelce still always shows up.
Yeah.
He's just so good when he needs to be like just that guy. He's always that guy. There was other options they brought in, like take the Houston game. Guy went for like 120 yards. Now he didn't do much in the Buffalo game, or well, I'm not even going to say the Super Bowl because no one did anything. That game was over by halftime. But the guy plays. Him and Mahomes have such a good rapport. Those games that he needs him to show up in, he has those big games. But he wasn't, he's not a guy that they can just really rely on and just keep throwing at Travis Kelce and just keep winning games. Like they had to diversify the offense a little bit, but he's still so good. He's still an elite tight end. I would argue more that he's the best tight end in the league before I would argue he's not a top five tight end in the league.
Yeah.
Guy, but I think as long as Mahomes is still going, he's going to keep running this. I think you're probably only got a year or two left, but he's still absolutely an elite tight end.
I think this is where um so I first of all, yes, shocking. I agree with you. I have Travis Kelce number three as well, which is tough
Wow.
because I
I thought
think
that was a
he's
stretch.
I think he's been my number one every year. Because you know how I feel about George
That's
Kittle. I'm not a George Kittle fan, but I can
wild.
respect his game and I usually have him, one or two, but he's always been two. Um, but yeah, I'm looking at it now. Kelsey's been my number one every single year. And it was the
Hmm.
first time he's dropped out of a number one spot. Um, But I mean, like you said, the writing's on the wall. He's getting older. I would say he's got maybe 2 years left. See, if he can avoid injury this year, I think he'll play another year. But I think he
I
also
mean, he's
sees
in a
what his.
grim spot.
But I think he sees like his brother, retired, and I'm sure he talks to him all the time about injury pains after retirement and what that's like. And so I'm sure it's crossed his mind. But
I mean,
I
he's
mean,
also been in three Super Bowls now. I'm sure that's
oh
pretty fun
yeah.
too.
But this is where like people who base their ratings off of like PFF, this is an eye opener because PFF had him at 7. He does more
Yeah.
for the Chiefs than the statistical numbers. Like he's Pat Mahomes' number one security blanket. Like he's
When he needs the ball, he balls.
yeah. I mean, from 2016 to 2022, he had 1,000 yards every year. Now obviously last like 2023, he almost had 1,000, but just under at 984, and then last year was again a bit of a dip, 823. His yards per catch went down at 8.5 because I mean, he's still getting a volume. He had 97 catches, but the yards weren't quite there. Only 3 touchdowns. So yes, there is a decline, and maybe those numbers don't pop out and say that's a number three wide tight end in the NFL. But he's Travis Kelce. Like
That's
he's
true. He
like you
is
said,
Travis Kelce.
if you need him to, you know, do something in a big game, like he'll come out and do it. I mean, the Chiefs played what, 3 playoff games this year. Um,
Yeah.
he had 175 yards. He scored a touchdown, 18 targets, so he's obviously a very focal point. But um, yeah, he'll until he retires, I think he'll probably stay in the top 5. But um, just a slight drop off. I think I would still take him if I was trying to build a championship team, and they're like, if you're trying to win right now, you have 1 year to win. I'm taking Travis Kelce over, a
Oh,
large
he's
portion of tight
also, I
ends.
mean, he even when his numbers decline, he's a big part of the reason. Obviously, Mahomes is the biggest, but he's a big part of the reason that the Chiefs keep winning with guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, Worthy, Tony, MVS. Like they haven't had a top flight wide receiver since Tyreek, and they
Yeah.
haven't stepped back. They've gotten better since Tyreek left. Nothing against Tyreek, but that's more of a Mahomes and Kelsey compliment. Like Kelsey just opens everything up because it takes three guys to really cover him.
Well, that's the thing. Like against in the playoffs against Philly, and I mean Philly, he was obviously we were dogging them, so they really didn't couldn't really do much on offense the whole time,
Just right
anyways.
that game was over
Yeah.
after like the first
Um,
quarter.
but then against Buffalo, like you said, he was getting roped up. Like he had, he was only targeted 4 times. He had 2 catches for 19 yards. Um,
Well, yeah, because that's a team that has fallen for the Travis Kelce has burned them so many times in
oh
the
yeah,
playoffs. They weren't going to let that happen again.
yeah.
How many times
But
have the Bills lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs?
excuse me. But against Houston in the divisional round, 117 yards, 7 catches, a touchdown. Like when you needed it, when he was available to do something, he made an impact. So he's either impacting it with the ball in his hand, or he's impacting it by helping get other players open by, like you said, suffocating the coverage because they need somebody to take control of him. So, but yeah, he'll my perennial number one. 2 years of decline. I have to bring him back a little bit. But I'm curious who you have at since our top three is the same. Who do you have at number two then?
I mean, I'm not going to
Are you gonna crown him? That's the thing.
well, I mean, what did we say? He was number two pretty much every year to Travis Kelce,
Hmm.
every time we've done this. I know you hate the guy, but I don't see it would be kind of insane to not make him number one after he just had arguably the best year of his entire career. Going off that, and I'm also going to take your mantra like Brock Bowers, don't get me wrong, he had an incredible season. And especially when you and Aiden McConnell and Mr. Magoo were throwing the ball to him, it's
Mr.
even more
Magoo.
impressive. So I'm going to start with Brock Bowers, who is my number two.
Mm.
The guy with just a rookie stat line of 112 receptions, 1,200 yards, and 5 tutties. I
With
mean, we were talking about Trey
trash
McBride is
cans
like
thrown at him.
six his entire career, and he's been in the
Yeah.
league for 3 years now. He's got, 112 is like up there with Mark Andrews' best in receiving yards, receptions. The yards are like gotta be, I think it's the best for the tight end in a rookie year ever. First team all pro. Like talk about a rookie just stepping in on a team that isn't very good. I leaked into this with Sam Laporta when I said he walked in as a rookie and just fit in and really was good from the start. Brock Bowers made that offense like I wouldn't even say good, tolerable maybe. What do
Mhm.
we rate the Raiders offense as? Tolerable, acceptable, passable?
I don't know if
You
those
know,
are quite the right.
they're a stretch, but he was the only
Nah.
thing that was impressive. So yeah, Bowers is my number two. I'll let you have number two, assuming it's something different. But otherwise, I will get to the king.
No, my number two is also Brock Bowers. You know how I am with my. I
This
don't
must have
like.
been torture for you.
Oh, it
You were
was so
between
hard.
George Kittle and a rookie on who was getting number one.
No, it was hard putting because I mean I put McBride at 6, and he's been in the league for 3 years, and I had to sit there and go, I cannot look at Brock Bowers as a rookie because typically I will say 1 year is great. I'll put you in the top 10, but the back end, I'm not going to crown you for 1 year.
I
But I
mean,
mean, he just unstoppable. I mean, the only thing bad going for him is his hair. He's balding at like 22, but look, he's
LeBron was balding at 22, and that worked out pretty well
but
for him.
maybe he just needs a good barber. But yeah, he just how many records he broke. I think he broke like all the Raiders tight end records and rookie records. Or no, he set the NFL record for receptions and receiving yards by a rookie tight end. Broke
Yeah, he must have
franchise
smacked
records
that
for
out
the
of the window.
Raiders. First team
Probably in
All
everything.
Pro as a rookie and a
Yeah,
Pro Bowl. I don't did he who won Offensive Rookie of the Year? I don't think it was him, was it?
Daniels.
Yeah, okay. That's cheating. He should have won.
Yeah,
I mean, Daniels was
and
outstanding, but um, yeah. So Brock Bowers, I had like, I mean, you already covered it all. Almost over 1,000 yards, almost 1,200 yards, over 100 receptions. Played all 17 games, so he was healthy. 5 touchdowns. But we we'll see. Remember, we have that the um the quarterback battle with the 6th round quarterbacks the Raiders took. So we'll see who makes it out of there. Oh no,
oh yeah,
they have Geno Smith. So yeah,
oh that's true.
he's got a reliable
Yeah, who did
quarterback.
the South Dakota and the North Dakota guys, right? I don't even remember who it
I
was, but
forget.
I just
Like
love it. It's two mortal enemies
Wyoming
in the
and like
Midwest.
yeah, some I
They're
forget.
too close in the middle of nowhere to not know each other.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah.
wait. Can't wait. They probably
Need,
hate each
need
other.
yeah, need to see the camp battles of that. But yeah, so
Gonna
Brock
be a trip.
Bowers, roses to you. He could very well be number one next year. We'll see how that
I mean, he
turns
would put a
out.
strong argument in his number one this year.
But yeah, I had to bite the bullet. As much as I despise the 49ers as an organization, as much as I don't really care for George Kittle and his personality, because he's a fine guy, which is fine. But I mean, enjoy the sport. You should love what you do. But I think he's a little annoying sometimes. But can't deny the year he had, especially with all the injuries the Niners dealt with, and no McCaffrey, and they lost Brent Ayuk, and he's stepped up and had another 1,000 yard season, 8 touchdowns, 78 catches. So I'll let you kind of do more of the crowning there. But who did we have it at number one here?
Oh, well, it's definitely George Kittle. I mean, the
Yes.
guy he's been number two, like we said, pretty much every year, and then on
Yeah.
arguably his best season of his career.
hmm Last 2 years have
Um,
been pretty damn good
I mean, yeah,
for a guy like
even
him
more.
who blocks a lot too. To
He's
have,
an incredible blocker,
yeah,
and even as we were saying, like he was a big part of, like he was in a really good offense
hmm
with a lot of really good players around him. And when everything fell apart, Ayuk didn't even play at all this year.
yep.
You had Christian McCaffrey was really banged up. He pretty
He
much
pretty
didn't
much
play
didn't
either.
play, yeah.
Yeah. Debo Samuel played, but he was really ineffective.
And now he's on another team.
Yeah, like Purdy had a down year, but Kittle's receiving stats going up and when everyone else goes down, and considering how great of a blocker he is, like you
Yeah.
just know pencil him in for being just an elite blocker every single year. He was healthy, really gave you at everything you want. And I think it was one of those years that like every once in a while you see years where a couple guys go down and then you remind yourself like, oh, okay, like he could really be like nasty if he was given the opportunity. Like Brock Bowers had that incredible stat line. He was also the only player on that offense I think was worth anything.
Yeah.
You know, a guy like Isaiah Likely, if he got a chance, I think he'd really ball out. A guy like Sam Laporta, if he was on the Arizona Cardinals, I think probably puts up Trey McBride numbers. But what's more impressive is Kittle is he always finds a way to be impactful with a team full of all pros around him, and then when
Yeah.
there's no one around him, he still makes it is impactful because the guy's just incredible.
I mean, I was talking about, McBride, I think it was, had like 10 yards per catch. And Kelsey's around like, I think he had 8 yards per catch. George Kittle had 14.2 yards per catch. It's a
It's
first down and a half, pretty much.
it's a wild concoction of he's a big play threat while also being an elite blocker. Like that tandem of skills
Yeah.
rarely match up in one player. Gronk is the epitome of it. And then
Mhm.
George Kittle, I think George Kittle is the closest to Gronk as a tight end as there's been since he's hung it up.
Yeah. Um, I would say, yeah, it's a pretty fair because Kelsey will block, but he's not the greatest blocker.
I
Um,
mean, Gronk and Kittle are sixth offensive linemen.
yeah,
They're having an extra offensive lineman out there.
yeah. Gronk was more big than Kittle, I think. Because Gronk was like built like a fullback, but
Kittle's
well,
country strong, Iowa strong, brother.
Yeah, no, Kittle is strong. He's a very pure football player in that aspect. Curious though, where do you? So he made obviously Pro Bowl. He was AP All Pro 2 behind Bowers, but where do you think he ranked in Offensive Player of the Year voting? Because I
Mm,
have his ranking here as far as votes, like where he finished.
I mean, that's tough because you had two of the greatest offensive seasons ever by a skill player.
Yeah.
Um, like it's kind of insane that Jamar Chase, who had a triple crown year, didn't win
hmm
offensive player of the year. And then once you get past Barkley and
I mean, Saquon
Chase, then
almost broke
you,
the record, so
I mean, this is what I mean. And then, just sprinkle in Derrick Henry there, who was also incredible.
yeah, it
I mean, you
was a
got
great
those
year. Yeah.
three. Yeah, offense players never goes to quarterbacks because they get the MVPs.
Yeah.
I mean, Bowers would be just as high as Kittle, I would think. So I'll say number five.
Not quite. He finished 11th in voting.
Oh my, you're over here gassing me up thinking that he was really high up. Like, I mean, did I actually think he was number five? No, but I didn't see why you would brought this up otherwise.
I was just curious. So, just for funds, I'll go through. So Saquon obviously won. Lamar was number two. Then Jamar Chase
Quarterback
three.
shouldn't count.
Derrick Henry at four. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs at eight. Jared Goff. This what the fuck?
Jared Goff over
You'll never. So all right, you'll never guess who number 10 was. Never.
position.
I can't tell you. You'll never guess.
Can't tell me what was he a fullback,
Joe Tooney,
offensive guard.
the guard for former guard of the Chiefs, now with the Bears. Well, it came in 10th.
Oh. To be fair, he did play a little left tackle. I'm curious. What was this argument being? Is this supposed to prop up George Kittle,
No,
or
you know
considering
what?
now
I
he's
really didn't
ranked
know.
behind Jared
No,
Goff
I
and
didn't
a
really know where I
offensive
was
lineman?
going. I didn't
I
know
don't
where I
think
was
this
going
helps
with
his
this.
case.
It doesn't. For a tight end, how often does a tight end get?
Tight end. He was ranked behind Jared Goff and an offensive lineman.
No, I'm saying for a
This
tight end, they don't really get put in that kind of voting. So
Neither does Joe Tooney.
yeah, I don't know what the hell. I mean, Jordan Mailata was 17th. He was above Pat Mahomes was 18th.
I don't know where your argument's going with this.
Interesting. No,
You
it's very
gaslit me into
curious.
thinking he was going to be like top five or something.
How oh, this is vote points. Wow, Trey Hendrickson came in second for Defensive Player of the Year. He probably not even gonna play
You're
this year.
completely off tackle now. So back to tight ends.
Tight end. So number one, George Kittle.
Yep. New king on the hill.
New King of the Hill. I think I don't think unless Kelsey has like a career year, I don't see him ever being number one again. I think
Mm,
I
yeah.
think realistically, Kittle will probably hold down one or two for a year or two more, and then
Hey,
I
it's a
think
young position.
I think
McBride,
I think Bowers
Laporta.
and McBride are going to really insert themselves into this top three. And then I think Laporta, if he gets more action, will probably sneak in there. Isaiah Likely, if he gets on a new team and has similar production, I can see him moving closer up. But I think Bowers and McBride are going to be kind of the new faces of the tight end world.
Well,
But
we'll see. Kittle's not going anywhere time soon, though. So
yeah,
there's your king.
how old is Kittle? Let's see.
30, 29.
He's been in the league for a while.
I mean, yeah, but
George Kittle he'll be
it's a
32
position.
at the start of the season. From
Yeah, but that's all
He
right.
is
Yeah.
he is the most Iowa athlete. Of course he went to Iowa. Not that that's a shot. I mean, Cooper DeJean went to Iowa,
Yeah.
but
All guys.
6'4", 250 from Madison, Wisconsin. Oh, he's 93, baby. Ew. He's old as us. Oh, no, you're 94.
I am 94.
I'm 93. Ugh.
Yeah.
Mm.
You'll die sooner.
I'm just as old as George Kittle. I just called him old.
You were
Crazy.
just shitting on the
I
way.
was just shitting on him.
Well, on that note, once you start shitting on yourself, that's when you know you need to let it
Oh,
go.
yeah, that's never good. But that was a great start to our top 10 and our fifth anniversary of our top 10. So exciting stuff. Tight ends are always they've gotten harder to rank, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's better competition, better, you know, a lot of them are more receiving nowadays, but we still get a lot of pure tight ends like, Kittle and Bowers is a bit mix of that. I don't think he did too much blocking this year, but hey, now they got Genty at running back and they have a better quarterback in place, and so we'll see what happens. The Raiders could be, who knows? I mean,
Yeah, we'll see.
they probably
We'll
won't do
see.
anything. But all right, well, until next time,
See you then.
peace.
Peace.